Now we're back. We're going to bottle this stuff up. We're going to show you how to do that. What we have to do first is we have to prepare our priming sugar. We're going to do that. I like to do it a little bit different than some people may. I use 3 cups of water, and we're going to put it into a saucepan, bring it up to a boil. We're going to stir in our priming sugar, and then we're going to put it in the bottom of our bottling bucket. 5 ounces of priming sugar is probably your most common used. If you're doing a Belgian beer, you might want to put a little bit more so you get a little extra carbonation. Be really careful with putting too much of this in though, because you can cause yourself to have bottle bombs. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put this 3 cups of water here that I've already measured out. We're going to put that in our pan here. I'm going to turn the stove on, and we're going to slowly bring that up to a boil, and after we get it pretty warm here, I'm going to go ahead and stir the sugar in. Alright guys, as you can see, it's starting to boil here, or getting close, so we're going to go ahead and stir our sugar in. Make sure that you stir it real well as you're putting it in here. It's kind of like you do your LME. You don't want to scorch the sugar, because if you scorch it, well, guess what? You just your bottles won't carbonate very well. So stir it in. Alright, so we have our sugar stirred in now. We're going to let that just bring up to just a little light boil, and then we're going to put it in the bottom of our bottling bucket, and then we're going to transfer in on top of it. What a lot of people don't understand is your beer is flat. That's the reason why you're putting sugar back in it. As homebrewers, what we have to do is naturally bottle carbonation, do natural bottle carbonation, or bottle conditioning as some people call it. What we're doing is we're starting the fermentation process up again in the bottle. It creates your CO2 and a little bit of alcohol. Okay, so now we're going to get this. We're just going to pour this in the bottom of here. As you notice, there's some foam from the star sand. Remember, don't fear the foam. You don't really have to cool the sugar down because there's such a small amount that it's going to cool it down really quickly, so you don't have to worry about killing any of the yeast that you're going to use for bottle conditioning. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we've got our auto-siphon over here in star sand, and we're going to transfer into the bottom of that. Now, it's a good idea to pay close attention to the tubing. What you want is you want the tubing to be on one side of the bottling bucket. This way it'll actually encourage the stirring of the sugar. Now what you don't want is like we said earlier, you want to make sure that you're not splashing your beer in here. Okay, so we're going to pick this up, push it down, and start our siphon. And as you can see, it's rotating down in there. So let's get it good and stirred up. Now what you don't want to do is you don't want to get a spoon and start stirring it in there. The reason being is if you'll introduce oxygen at that point, and you don't want any oxygen to be in your beer. As you notice, it's mixing up relatively nice.
Now after all your beer is ready to go in your bottling bucket, you want to grab a bin or something that you can put your bottle inside of and make sure that, you know, if it runs over, it will catch any kind of spilled beer. Then you want to grab a sanitized transfer tube and bottling wand out of your star sand and attach it to your bottling spigot. We'll start off with one bottle and then we'll go from there. Now we're going to open up the spigot and put in the bottling wand in the bottle while pressing down, so this will allow the beer to flow through. The cool thing is this is a neat little tool. As you press down, you want to fill the beer all the way up to right to the top of the bottle And when you pull it out, it'll leave the perfect amount of headspace. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to grab more sanitized bottles and set up an assembly line to make things smoother and easier. This is a good time to have an extra hand so they can maybe take your filled bottles and cap them, or at least set them aside for some more capping while handing you some more fresh bottles. And when you set them aside, be sure to put on a sanitized cap. You'll also have a capper in your TBI equipment kit, and it's pretty easy to use. Just center the capper on the cap, give it just enough pressure until you feel it break over, and then you're done. Just be careful not to press too hard on it. It doesn't take a whole lot of pressure to make a seal on it, because if you do, you might actually break the top of the bottle off.
All right, guys, there you have it. Pretty easy, right? Now comes the hard part. The hard part's going to be waiting. The hardest part about homebrewing is learning to become patient. And what you're going to have to do now is find you a nice, cool place to put your beers in and let them set for a couple weeks. After about 2 weeks, you can pop 1 or 2 in the refrigerator, see how they taste, and then if they have adequate carbonation, drink them. Put you in a 6-pack. If not, let it set for another week. Just keep in mind that higher alcohol beers tend to take a little longer to carbonate than lower alcohol beers, so keep that in mind while you're waiting. I know that's the hard part. Also, there's some other options that you can do as well that we didn't really discuss in the video. Another option is carbonation drops. This way you can put a meter charge into each single bottle. We've had really good luck with them. The problem is they're a little more expensive than your typical corn sugar or priming sugar option. I think that pretty much about wraps it up. We sure appreciate you guys watching. Just keep in mind that you have the option to give us a call at 682-647-1267, or you can also check out our website at txbrewing.com for even more further information. Thank you for watching.